Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Happy Monday.
Yes.
We are just zipping right along here, almost about to wrap up the month of August, for goodness sakes.
I know, this month has been quick, but
It's the 21st.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. So I believe a week from today, Bill, we have an election starting, early voting, which I know we all love so much.
Setting up a flare.
Yes. August 28th through the 15th for the District 2 Commissioner, which is the Lake Gator Rivers seat that is being held as a special election because he passed away about 4 months ago. So his wife has been serving in that seat currently, and we have 4 candidates for that. David Tootle, Naisha Banks, Michael Hamilton, who I believe has run for this seat multiple times, and then Melinda Hodge, who just stepped down from the Board of Elections to run for this seat. So those are the 4 candidates. I will say the one conservative is going to be David Tootle.
Yeah, David's a real deal. Honest to goodness, he's one of these people that he does not gild the lily. He does not put up with any garbage, and he will stick to his guns. Yes,
and this election, it will be interesting. So they are going to be doing early voting on Eisenhower, but it's at the Annex building, which is 1249 Eisenhower Drive. So it's a much bigger space. They're going to have 30 machines in there. So that will, I believe they were only able to have 13 in the Board of Elections, which if you went in there for early voting, it was a tight squeeze.
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Yes. So, and people won't be waiting out in the sun. They actually aren't going to have you fill out the paperwork anymore. You're going to be able just to check in with your driver's license. Before, if you did early voting, you had to fill out all this paperwork too. So, and you won't be standing in the sun outside, which is great news because it is a hot one here in Savannah right now. So, very good news that they're switching that over and there will be more room there. So, very exciting. I'm trying to think. And then, of course, Election Day is September 19th. So make sure if you live in District 2, you go out and vote. If you're not sure, because there has been a lot of redistricting going on, make sure you call the Board of Elections.
Check it out there.
Or Board of Registrars, actually.
Well, high school football season is underway, more or less. We had some great games over the weekend. There was no trouble at the Savannah Country Day game. St. Andrews didn't have any trouble at their game. But for the second year in a row, the Benedictine-Jenkins game had to be canceled early because of miscreants in the stands. It was some sort of TikTok thing or whatever. But last year, I think there was even gunfire involved.
They said it was not a TikTok thing. Later on, it came out that it was not a TikTok challenge that was happening. I mean, these people were like fighting. They were throwing bottles. This was not a TikTok challenge. This was people being very aggressive at a game that, here's the thing. People don't know how to lose anymore without throwing a fit.
The second year in a row that this has happened. And because Benedictine was up, this happened in the third quarter when the Benedictine quarterback scored to make it 42-0. And then things began to deteriorate. They were having some trouble beforehand, even before halftime, I believe. But then in the third quarter, this happened. Benedictine is way up. And Coach Danny Britt, we're going to be talking to Coach Britt tomorrow, by the way, and try to get in touch with Tony Welch, also the coach at Jenkins, and see what his reaction is. Well, both of the coaches said, listen, this had nothing to do with the players on the field. So there was no problem there. It was these miscreants in the stands that are causing all this trouble. And some the other schools didn't seem to have any problems, but this one happened in the second year. And this is what upset Coach Britt more than anything. He said, for the fact this happened in the first place, but the fact that it happened 2 years in a row with the same contest, same 2 schools getting together, said this is preposterous. It can't stand. So whether it was TikTok or it was TokTik or whether it was blizzard spit, I don't care what it is. This has to stop. The police didn't have any immediate response, but here's a report that was done on over the weekend on the events, actually on Friday night.
Breaking news at 11 o'clock, the high school football game between Benedictine Military School and Jenkins High School is called early because of a safety precautionary matter. According to the Savannah Chatham County Schools, there were multiple crowd disruptions that started around halftime and that it lasted into the third quarter.
Officials say the disruptive behavior was due to a TikTok challenge. That challenge was allegedly accepted by a group of spectators designed to create the impression of a large, chaotic incident. School officials say there was never a stadium-wide threat. However, they decided to end the game early, again as a safety precaution. The school district released a statement saying in part, quote, SEC PSS seeks to ensure a safe, orderly environment at all events that involve students, staff, and families, and does not condone disruptive behavior that compromises safety. Now, we will keep you updated on air and online when we learn more information about this situation.
Okay, that was Friday night from WJCL, the ABC affiliate, and so you said it wasn't a TikTok challenge.
No. Later on, it came out that it wasn't a TikTok challenge. These people, I'm sorry, we've got to get to a point where we're not having all of this behavior happening. We're seeing it. I mean, I saw a video this weekend of Philly where it's groups of teenagers that are running up on cars in traffic and scaring the crap out of them, like thinking that they're going to break into their car. I mean, it's wild to me that this is the country we live in. I mean, I'm sure it's even more wild for you, but this didn't happen when I was younger. We did not behave this way. This was not stuff that was happening. So to see kind of a world of chaos that we're living in, and that, you know, even in Savannah, we're seeing it maybe in a microcosm, but it's still happening.
Yeah. And it shouldn't be. It needs to be nipped in the bud, as old Barney Fife used to say, and nip it. And we didn't have any, according to Dennis Knight's article in the Savannah Morning News about the event, there was no immediate response from the Savannah police. Why not? This is a county stadium. County police should be involved as well. We need some sort of statement from the police officers as to what they're going to do about this. And that platitude from the Savannah-Chatham County school system, oh, we don't condone this sort of thing, and we're concerned about everybody's safety. All right, thank you very much. Well, do something about it. Get some discipline in the classroom, and this is what we need to start doing, and start arresting these little miscreants and get this under control.
Well, I think that's the problem, Bill, is that there isn't a lot of discipline happening in the Chatham County schools. And so the kids know that they can get away with stuff like this. And it's,
Yeah.
you know,
So if you're so damn
no
concerned
punishment.
about safety, start with disciplining these people, because the kids who actually want to learn are terrified.
Well, not only that, like, I want to go and enjoy a football game. Like, the football games,
Exactly.
you know, for me were a huge, they were like the highlight of the weekend. It was like you were at Friday night football. I mean, I was on drill team, so we danced at halftime. It was a big deal in my town.
That's America's favorite pastime on Friday night. The Friday Night Lights, numerous television series, movies, books have all been written about it.
Well, and that's the thing, Bill. Like, but at what point do people stop going to these because they're just like, you know, I'm not willing to put myself through a crowd breaking out and fighting and throwing bottles, and I mean, it's disturbing. And the fact that it's happened a second year in a row, I mean, did they not prepare for this, or why? I don't know. It's interesting. I'll be interested to see why they think it happened for a second time.
Well, of course, they said now that they are putting in some new guidelines or something. So at the Memorial Stadium, there'll be more of a police presence. And, you know, frankly, I don't want to live in a police state.
No.
I don't want to see the. They're going to say one of the things that. Do we have the story on the follow up? Okay, but WTOC did a follow up story of that you won't be able to bring in backpacks unless it's a clear backpack. Not that you can't hide a bunch of stuff in a clear backpack. I don't know what the hell do you bring a backpack to a football game for? I've gone to thousands of football games. I never had a backpack.
Well, I will tell you though, if you are bringing other children and things like that, you probably are bringing a backpack for snacks and stuff like that for your kids.
Well,
So
if you're bringing children, then okay. But other than that, usually kids come in with a stroller. I never saw people coming in with backpacks.
Well, and not only that, like on drill team, we had a bunch of stuff that we had to have. I mean, we had a change of clothes. We had all of this stuff that we brought with us. So,
but you came like in a
group. Yep.
In a group, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, and that's different. And you were there for a specific purpose. It don't issue for the most part in high school football unless it's championships, press passes, or anything like that. but they know what you were there for. You're in uniform. You know that you're good to go, and there wasn't any worry about that, especially in those days.
Definitely
but,
not.
So more of a police presence.
But we're seeing that clear backpack thing in everything. So if you go to a graduation, if you're going to a concert, if you're going to, some of the different things being held at End Market. So we're seeing this like progressively.
Okay, so going to the
infringe,
buy stock in the clear backpack business.
Please don't.
But
we need to teach society to behave so that we don't all pay the consequences of having.
Because I don't know what you need a backpack for to go to a concert. I don't know what you need a backpack for to go to a ball game, unless like Brittany said, you got some kids or something you're bringing.
But even bringing in a purse, they're not going to allow you to do it unless it's clear.
Yeah.
I mean, women, we carry purses, and I don't know. Sometimes it's a small piece of luggage.
Well, they can. Okay. Well, they can. They can peer into that or something if you're going to have the police presence, have them at the gate, or the gate. Yes, the gate person doesn't have to be a cop. Just may I look in your purse for a second here, and make sure that there's nothing nefarious in there. So that's one thing to do. But another situation that Coach Britt was talking about, because it was a very lopsided game. Here's his opportunity to put it. He was going to clear the bench in the fourth quarter, so all the freshmen were going to get to play. All the other kids that usually don't get to play except on special teams or something like that. They're just maybe that's their first year there, even though they may not be freshmen. Will get a chance to play. That gives them game experience and things of that nature. It gives the A players, shall we say, a chance to to breathe, relax. Because it's a rough game. You get scarred up, and in many cases they're unfortunately there are injuries, as there are in any sport. But it gives them a chance not to have your A number one players hurt the first game of the season on a game that may not be meaningful in the sense of whether you're going to the playoffs or not later down the road. But at the same time, you're there to win the game, and you want your other kids to have some experience, and also give a rest to the players that they're going to get you to the championship in the first place. Yeah,
well, and that's why they are. I think they've had 2 championships.
They're back-to-back national. They're back-to-back state champions.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I mean. They're trying to build those championship teams, so giving those players an opportunity to play early on in the season is
absolutely
it's a good opportunity.
Danny Britt has done nothing but just absolutely magnificent job of rebuilding Benedictine into a very, very strong powerhouse and state champion. And Tony Welch is trying to do the same thing. I think it's his first year at Jenkins, and so he's trying to rebuild this program. So we'll be talking to Coach Britt tomorrow, definitely. Tony Welch hopefully later in the week. But for the most part, Savannah Chatham County Schools start disciplining the kids in the classroom, and maybe that'll spill over into football and basketball games.
Yes, and Steve Stanton's with us this morning, and he says corporal punishment early on, ? And he also says that old saying, coming to a city near you.
Yeah.
And it is creeping in here in Chatham County. It's a little scary to see. I think our Soros DA has definitely helped with that. So make sure in 2024 you are preparing to vote for someone that is not funded by Soros.
And an 8th grade teacher that was a kind of a retired junior high school football coach, we call it junior high in those days, not middle school, had a paddle that he would discipline us with, and it had bored holes in it, so you hear it coming. And it was his, the "you're not listening" stick type thing, and it worked. It worked like a charm.
So I did not grow up in those days, but we had something called PASS. I don't remember what it stood for, but it was basically in-school suspension, where you had to be in silence all day. It was awful. So no one wanted to do that. So, I mean, they had different disciplines for us. They also suspended kids. So.
Yeah, but it's got to have some teeth.
Oh, it absolutely does.
All right, coming up next.
Do you think that they're going to be able to get away with masking us again, Bill?
Hope not. Hope if we learned our lesson the last time.
We'll see when we get back.
She trains at 6 a.m. every morning. She spent years working to shave off seconds. She's the captain of her school's team. He's just a mid-pack finisher. But not today. Unfortunately, this competition was over before it even began.
Are you a mom or dad? Do you have little kids with big dreams? Well, hopefully your kids aren't white or Asian, because if they are, they will have a very hard time getting into their dream college or landing their dream job. Top schools and corporations are run by left-wing Democrats, and they openly discriminate against whites and Asians. So even if your daughter has the best test scores, even if your son has amazing grades, even if they spend extra hours studying and doing everything right, it won't be enough. Unless you suddenly discover that you're part Cherokee, or transgender, or in the country illegally. Otherwise, your kids are out of luck. Which begs the question, if Democrats are hurting your children, why would you ever vote for them? Stop the bigotry. Stop the insanity. Paid for by Citizens for Sanity.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
And haven't had any kind of a tropical storm or any warning in 84 years in California. My daughter is out there taking her daughter to school. She was enrolling in this private school in San Diego, and then not only that, they have an earthquake, so she needs to come back east.
Yeah, is she okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Very good.
Got a lot of rain, but everything's fine, and is certainly not the terrorizing in many cases that the media wants you to have, of making things a lot worse than they actually are. I know that sometimes the pictures don't do it justice, and these people, once again, California is not prepared for something like this. They have plenty of time. They could be capturing this water in cisterns and things of that nature, because 2 years from now we're going to be hearing, oh, this drought in California, look at this climate change. We don't have any water. Well, you had a year's worth the last 24 hours.
Well, the other thing, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember when I was, in elementary school, them saying there will always be the same amount of water on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Am I wrong?
No.
So I'm having a hard time understanding why we're having so many issues with climate change or water or.
Did you take third grade science where it was said the water evaporates and it comes back down? And,
yeah, I'm not really sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just really interesting to me that we're still having these ludicrous conversations about climate change when it doesn't really make sense.
Well, it does for the people who are making money out of this.
I guess I wish I was one of those people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but,
selling the carbon footprints, which is our carbon neutral certificates and that sort of thing. Yeah, right. I got an old bridge here I'd like to sell you.
Yeah, climate change coming to a city near you,
Mm-hmm.
as our friend Steve Stanton would say.
Uh-huh.
So the other thing that is coming to a city near you, I heard breaking news over the weekend that we were going to see them start to ask people to mask up starting in September because of a new strain of COVID, Bill.
Oh, wow. So it's going to be coming in September. The COVID knows. It's like when we had the first COVID thing. If you walked into a restaurant, if it was still open, you had to wear a mask if you were standing up. So
Yes.
the COVID things, so the germs are up here.
Yeah.
As soon as you sat down, you could take off the mask. So the germs weren't down here. They were always up here. So
Well, and
yeah.
then COVID really came out after hours, So
That's true.
I
Yeah.
think we had a curfew in a lot of places, it being 10 or midnight, and the bars closing. So, better watch out for that COVID in the middle of the night.
Yes, sir. And then those kids playing in the park. Oh my God, we can't have that.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, for sure. That COVID's all over that park.
Well, we have Lester Holt telling us about how COVID is up about, I think he said 14% right now.
Wow, here he is, the anchor from the National Baroque Channel.
COVID is making a comeback this summer, so many of us would like to leave it in the past, but cases are once again on the rise. So when will new booster shots roll out? Ann Thompson asked the CDC director.
This summer, most Americans left COVID in the past, gathering together once again mask-free. But tonight, signs of a COVID resurgence. Across the country, COVID hospitalizations jumped more than 14% in the most recent week, but far lower than pandemic levels. NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel.
What's behind this uptick in COVID that we're seeing?
The main driver of this is a variant that's relatively newer to the scene, EG5. It's easier to give and get, so that makes it kind of easier to pass along.
It's been almost a year since the last COVID booster came out. CDC Director Dr. Mandy Cohen.
The new COVID booster is expected to be approved by the FDA, and then we will make recommendations from the CDC probably by the second or third week of September.
Will it protect against this new strain?
Yes, the booster is tailored to what we are seeing circulating now.
Critics say the federal government is behind once again. People knew there was going to be a COVID resurgence. So why don't we have a booster today? Why do we have to wait until next month?
The way we go about doing just like we do with our flu shots, right? We make sure that we're looking at the ways in which the virus changed. They look at and evaluate that. The FDA is doing its work. We likely will see this as an annual COVID shot, just like the flu shot.
Just in time for fall, when we'll also face RSV. Can you take the flu shot, the COVID booster, and the RSV vaccine all at once?
So for flu and COVID, yes. RSV, again, is only available for older adults. That's one where I'd say talk to your doctor about what's right for you.
So until the new COVID booster comes, get prepared. Stock up on at-home tests. They do cover that new strain. Keep a mask handy in case you're in a crowded place. And most of all, get your shots, COVID, flu, and RSV, all by Halloween to give yourself your best chance of staying healthy.
A reminder that COVID never went away. All
Didn't.
right. And thank
And neither does the flu, okay? We have a flu season, but the flu doesn't go, the germs just don't disappear. They don't have an expiration date or anything of that nature. It's always around. You can always get pneumonia, so on and so forth. This stuff is around. Start giving the kids vitamin C, D3, and zinc, okay? Problem solved.
Well, drink water, eat less sugar. There's so many things that we could be doing. Getting healthy should be the message, not go get your shot.
And all we've had the stories of how worthless the masks are, and here's this woman saying, have a mask handy. I will for Halloween.
Yeah, and our friend Steve Stanton Sr. is, of course, with us this morning. He said they thought the last time it would take out half the population, but it just wasn't deadly enough. Dang it. They will get it right this time. Hold on tight, folks. It's going to be one hell of a thing to endure and come out alive. Isaiah 5:5-6.
I think that if they start closing things down again, that'll be ridiculous. And I hope that people will be defiant. I remember there were a lot of the heroes during the COVID thing were the ones who kept their place open. There was a guy in New Jersey that had a gym. They tried to shut his gym down.
Yep.
So he moved everything outside. And then they bitched and moaned about that.
Yep, and Lizzie Warren said people lost their minds when her beaches were reopened summer of 2020. And
what happened?
People went to the beach and they had a great freaking time and lived their life.
Yeah. So that may, and remember, from the left standpoint, they're not happy till you're not happy.
Exactly. Well, and here's the thing, Bill. You have one life, and I am not willing to be locked up in my house and wear a mask everywhere. It's miserable, especially in the South in the summer. Are you kidding me? Absolutely not. Nope, I will not do it.
Yeah, and we feel that the masks are worthless in the first place. Well, in fact, they cause more trouble for kids because, first of all, the kids were having so much trouble learning. They got way behind language skills. One of the teachers told me, a great friend of ours, Gold Star mom in Richmond Hill, who taught for 30 years in the public school system there, saying she needs to see the kids' faces. She needs to see the reaction. She needs to hear the question from the kid in the back. If he's wearing a mask, sometimes she can't understand the question. And it damaged their language skills. And we knew kids who ran into each other elsewhere and didn't recognize their own classmates because they were wearing a mask all the time. And we've also proven that the longer you keep that thing on, the more carbon monoxide, or dioxide rather, that you're going to be breathing. And the kids aren't going to clean the mask usually. These things are filthy. So they have more germs in them than they're more form than the COVID. And the kids weren't getting it in the first place.
Not only that, when you're wearing a mask, Bill, like all of that bacteria, I mean, you start to break out with acne and stuff. It's like that cannot be good for your lungs if it's doing that to your skin. And
and the next thing is the COVID virus was smaller than the pores of the mask, so it didn't make any difference if you were wearing the darn thing anyhow. Even the top quality masks, the QR9s or the XO4s or I-95. Yeah, that's a great highway.
Yeah. And the other thing, Bill, is when you look at how the shots have come to light, they're really not that effective. They haven't been effective, and
even though Rachel Mad Cow Disease, who now gets paid $25 million for doing one show a week, wow, nice work if you can get it, told us if you get the shot, you don't pass it along. You don't get it. You don't get COVID. You don't pass it along. Problem solved. Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah, well, and that actually didn't happen. The shots were not effective.
No, they weren't.
And honestly...
But what we're seeing now from the after effects of those shots is frightening. The truth will come out eventually.
Yeah, so they're going to be forcing people to get these boosters coming up this fall. I'm almost certain of it, especially if you work in the healthcare field. And the other thing, Bill, is, I mean, how many times have we heard them say, "Oh, we chose the wrong flu strain for the shot"? I'm like, I don't know. I don't do any of the vaccines.
We got the flu shots that they're starting advertising now, and I usually get one. I look for the quadrivalent, which can attack the 4 different strains that they have, but sometimes they miss it. Now it will, for the most part, if you get the flu, it will not be as severe.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they miss it sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you that I have never had a flu shot, and I have never had the flu. So I feel pretty good about that. Lizzie Warren said COVID booster equals lots of money. And Steve Statton says, got to have a reason for Joe to campaign from the basement and mail-in balloting.
Yeah, for sure.
I know 3 young people with serious heart issues after the shot, says Lizzie Warren. So
well, the head of the Undertakers Association of America, or whatever that organization is of funeral directors and undertakers, said that they are seeing, from autopsies that they're seeing on some of these people, they're seeing blood clots like we've never seen before. I mean, they say these things look like a snake.
It's very strange.
Yeah, it really is. They said they've never seen anything like this, and there's only one. And we're also finding out about how they've lied to us about the numbers. You get killed in a motorcycle accident, but the guy had COVID, and he died of COVID. No, he died of a blunt head trauma, or crushed lung or something like that. But he had COVID, so they reported that as a COVID death, so they get more money.
Yep, it's all a scam. Love the government.
Yeah, I was extremely upset about the one of the hospitals here, who had an that was advertising, "We're losing patients and we're losing patients." And I said, "Oh, I don't appreciate that." They were getting mad at us for not everybody getting a shot.
It doesn't end, Bill. Yeah, it doesn't end. And I do think that there's been immense pressure on a lot of these hospitals because they do count on federal funding. So they're kind of put in a situation where they either do what the federal government says or they don't get any more money. So I think that that's a huge issue. The government is picking winners and losers. That's what it ultimately always boils down to, is that the government is funding something, and if you don't do what they say, they're going to take the money away.
And it never works well. All right, coming up next.
Well, here in Georgia, let's see how those indictments are affecting President Trump.
Coming up.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke. When I grow up, I want to be hired based on what I look like rather than my skills.
I want to be judged
By my political beliefs, I want to get promoted
based on my chromosomes. When I grow up, I want to be offended
by my coworkers
and walk around the office
on eggshells
and have my words policed
by HR. Words like
grandfather,
peanut gallery,
long time no see,
no can do.
When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety and do workplace sensitivity training all day long. When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder.
Just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist. I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
Come join us today at Sweet Potato's Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Happy Monday.
Yes, it's quite a Monday, isn't it, Bill?
It is.
All sorts of good news.
For sure. By the way, a great celebration of Leopold's Ice Cream, their 104th birthday party over the weekend. Nice big celebration that they had downtown, closing off that little section of Broughton Street. And there was face painting and all sorts of great things for the kids. And of course, the ice cream was absolutely fabulous, as usual. And the Savannah Voice Festival wrapped up over the weekend as well. One of the great international competitions that we have here every year that Savannah ought to know more about. And we'll be talking about a little bit later.
Very good. And I know that we're all talking about the indictments being brought down by the DA in Fulton County, which has been
for 19 people.
Interesting to watch, including the previous head of the GOP and Coffee County, the lady that was the head of the elections there. She has had a really difficult time, and praying for all those people because this is absolutely ridiculous. Attorneys want at least $1 million just to start to represent you. Some of these people are retired people that don't have that kind of money. It's ridiculous. And
so you're going to have to sell your house or whatever to get yourself represented. Frankly, I'd demand, hey, but you're supposed to be able to get a public defender. I'd get a public defender.
You can only get a public defender if you make under a certain amount per year, and I think it's like $10,000. It's a crazy low figure.
Okay, well, I would represent myself that I've watched every episode of Perry Mason when I was a kid.
Oh, geez.
Or Law and Order or whatever it is.
The thing is what they do is they question you and try to get you to say something to validate what they're trying to do.
Exactly.
So I think that's the thing that's a little bit dangerous with doing that is you really do need an attorney to guide you through a lot of that questioning because they have a better understanding of the law and kind of what they're trying to do. So it's very interesting to me that the poll numbers don't seem to be moving for President Trump.
No, they don't, except they're getting better.
Yes.
They're not moving in a negative direction, which is what this whole opposition is about.
Well, that's what CNN wants to see.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, the Communist News Network. What a big surprise, and also messed up DNC.
Look here. This is Quinnipiac University. It was a 2-point race in February. Look where it is now. It's a 1-point race. That's well within the margin of error. But take away one thing from this, and one thing only if you take away only one thing. And that is, I think there are a lot of Democrats who simply can't believe that Donald Trump can be elected president again. The polling indicates that Trump is, in fact, in a stronger position at this point than he was during the entire 2020 campaign, according to the national polls. If we had state-level polling, I wouldn't even be surprised if Trump were ahead in the swing states that are most important, Jim.
Right, and when the race is that close, it comes down to the Electoral College, and who knows what happens with that. We don't even have those kinds of numbers just yet, but from a national standpoint, you're absolutely right. It is remarkable where Trump stands right now when it comes to the rest of this field and with general election voters. Harry Ensign, as always, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Be sure to check out Harry's podcast, Margins of Error. You can find it on your favorite podcast.
So there's some liberals actually being honest about the election and what
there
that
you
could
go,
look like.
and just can't understand it. Yeah, it's pathetic. And that moron that was anchoring there, Jim, what's his last name? I can't think of it right offhand. But I'm surprised he still has a job. I'm surprised anybody in the media still has a job after the 2016 election.
Well, I mean,
I was asking that on my radio show. I said, why aren't these people all fired? I mean, they told us this is going to be a landslide for the Hildebeest.
Well, I mean, they're saying the narrative that people want them to say. They're not actually doing journalism, which is interesting because I do always think, why are they giving this to Trump right now? What are they going to do? After this debate, is it possible that he does not show up to the debate and then they say, this is why his poll numbers are dropping so much? Mm-hmm. They manipulate those statistics. So I'm wondering if that's something that's going to play into what we see this week with Trump not debating. So just something to look out for. I do think that they're going to try and create some sort of narrative that is going to go against Donald Trump because he is not actually going to debate this Wednesday.
Although hearsay, we have highly reliable evidence that this DA in Atlanta, even though the communist pinko that she is, and by the way, daughter of a Black Panther, but she was told from Washington that this indictment had to come down. It had to come down last week. It had to come down that day. And she said, well, it's going to be late at night before. So it doesn't matter. When was the last time you remember a midnight press conference? It was damn near midnight when this thing came out. And then all of a sudden, you saw the release before the grand jury even came out with their indictments that was posted online. And they said, oh, that was just a clerical error. That was just, what was it? It was just a draft.
Yeah, it was a draft. They accidentally hit
send instead of save. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. And then when the actual indictment came out, it was identical, almost word for word, for the one that was actually sent out accidentally. So we know that the fix was in. You're going to indict 19 people. You want them all come to court within the next 6 months. What's the rush? You've had 3 years. Why 6? Why 6? Because what's happening in 6 months?
I don't know. There could be an election on the way.
Oh.
Yeah, 2024 is going to be wild, especially we just showed you the COVID stuff. Now we're showing you all of these indictments. I also heard that Arizona might be looking at some indictments there, so it could get really interesting.
But every political expert that we've heard, especially people like Jonathan Turley, who actually know the Constitution and actually read the Constitution and understands it, probably could quote it to you verbatim. You could probably stop him on the street. Jonathan, what's Article 5, Section A, subparagraph B? And he'd quote it to you. Said, this is ridiculous. She's got no case. None of these things are impeachable offenses.
No, and I think Newt is the one that actually dropped that bombshell. And
yeah, he sure did.
Here he is.
But I am told by a reliable source that Friday evening, somebody from Washington called the district attorney in Atlanta and said, you have to indict on Monday. We have to cover up all of the mistakes we just made with Weiss. And she said, apparently, my jurors aren't coming back till Tuesday. And they said, you didn't hear me. You have to indict on Monday. And she said, well, they're not going to get here before noon. They said, it doesn't matter. She said, this means it's going to be 8 or 9 or 10 o'clock at night. They said, it doesn't matter. We need the news media shifting.
Who made that phone call?
We don't know. And I'm telling you up front, this is hearsay, but it's from a person who has remarkably good sources.
I totally believe it, though, because that would explain why they leaked and they messed up on the clerk document, why she was exhausted, and why they had the 11 p.m. press conference, Mr. Speaker.
Charlie Kirk nailing it again, along with Newt Gingrich, who is over the top brilliant.
Yes, and I do think that there is no case here. I mean, they haven't been able to prove what crime they actually agreed to commit in order for them to really file this RICO charge. I don't really understand how they're able to continue on and also take mugshots of these people when the case is very, very flimsy.
Yeah, when I heard this was going to be filed under the RICO statutes, I was like, the what? You're going to do what?
Yeah.
And listen, there are very few people who know less about the law than I do. And so if you do, then, and so anybody that knows, I mean, that's a feat. And this is ridiculous. So she was coerced into doing this in the first place. She's not qualified for her job in the second place.
Well, when you are funded by Soros, and I think that we all need to do a better job of figuring out who we're voting for and who they're funded by, because it makes a huge difference for what they're going to do during their time or their tenure there. So these Soros DAs have done things that are unimaginable, and they don't follow the law. They're turning everyone into political prisoners, which is wrong. And we really need to stand up and fight against this. They do have a fund that they've set up to try and help these people. The Georgia GOP is actually trying to raise the money to help with a lot of the fees, the legal fees for this, because it's very, very expensive. They're trying to raise $3 million right now, Bill. That's insane.
It is. And the sad part is they're supposed to be, what's the prime directive of government? And that is to protect your citizens. And they're doing just the opposite. How many innocent people have died and have or been severely injured because the police are not allowed to do their work? You can arrest this guy and he's out on bond before the cop finishes filling out the paperwork. This is not supposed to happen in America. We're giving banana republics a good name.
That's the thing. And it's also, I think the purpose of this too is to make you feel like there's nothing you can do. Yeah. Sit down and shut up, or else they're going to come after you too. So I think that that's the big thing, Bill. And it makes you feel defeated in a way, because they're just going to keep going until all of us are scared enough that we're going to end up going to prison, or they're going basically the lawfare, like Lizzie Warren mentioned, is going to be so bad that you can't afford to represent yourself or an attorney to represent you, and then you lose everything. Mm-hmm. So people don't want to get involved in that, which I understand, but at the same time, the founding fathers went through far worse and lost much more than any of us would lose.
Yeah, it is, and they swore their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor, and not one of the 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence went back on their word, even though they were losing all of their money, all their property, in many cases, all their family. Some came back from the war to nothing. Wife is gone, children are gone, or dead, and they died in abject poverty. But they never went back on their word. Their sacred honor was what was the driving force, that they believed in a higher cause. And somebody mentioned Jim, what's his face on the Communist News Network, just mentioned the Electoral College. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons that they're trying to get rid of that is because they don't want they want the majority. They want a majority rule type thing. And there's the tyranny of the majority.
Yeah, and that would be horrible for people that are just regular blue-collar people that have been paying for all these people in the cities to live.
Or you're living in Wyoming, Idaho, places like that. Mm-hmm. Your vote's not going to count worth a dime. Nope. All they need to do is get Houston, Los Angeles,
and
New York, and Chicago, and they win the election.
Yep, it's not good.
It's like Atlanta here in Georgia. We lost out on getting money for our trauma centers because Atlanta voted it out.
Yep.
The rest of the state wanted more trauma centers. Atlanta voted it down.
Yes, and Steve Stanton Sr. says every conservative DA in America needs to start a counteroffensive. You're absolutely right, but I just have not seen a lot of those people that are willing to fight those battles. They they've not gotten in the game, and I don't foresee them getting in the game, but I think putting some political pressure on people is a good idea.
Doesn't hurt.
No, and Mary McCann Hybrider said it's nothing but a money laundering scheme, which she was talking about the COVID vaccine, and I know many that have died from it. So
Absolutely.
Bill. So we are going to take a break, but we'll be right back, and we'll be talking about some things that are a little bit lighter.
Yeah. It's one of the greatest generations. Milestone.
Who is a kid? Well, that's a kid. And another. Look, a gaggle of them. Or is it a herd? Litter? Pride. But what about her? Tell her she's not a kid. Or him. So how do we tell who is a kid? Height? Age, maybe. But some of us have to grow up faster than others. A kid. A kid wants to make the world better. And one day, he just might. Is a kid fearless? Vulnerable? Strong? Nervous? Yes. 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 Kiwanis is 600,000 kids at heart doing all the little and big things it takes to help children around the world. Because kids need Kiwanis. All of them.
Have you ever boarded a plane and thought to yourself, I hope the pilot is a transgender refugee? Have you ever gone to the emergency room and said, I hope my medical team is incredibly diverse? Have you ever moved to a new city and said, I hope the police department hit its equity goals for the year? If your answer to these questions was no, if you just wanted the most qualified candidates for the job, then you are normal. But we have a lot of very not normal people running America these days. Left-wing politicians believe skin color or gender identity should determine who gets the job. Democrats used to care about the middle class. Now they just care about your race and your gender. And as long as Democrats stay in power, it will just keep getting worse. Stop the bigotry. Stop the insanity. Paid for by Citizens for Sanity.
Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah.
When you're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Zipping along here, going down the home stretch for this Monday morning.
Yes, and I will say I am actually really excited for the first Republican debate, which is this Wednesday, even though it will be at 9 o'clock, which is way past my bedtime. But I will be watching.
Well, you can DVR it and get up early and watch it. But then again, there's that.
Yeah, no, I want to see it real time. I think that it will be interesting without Trump's presence there. He will be doing a Tucker Carlson interview at the same time. I think there may be, maybe Tucker's really excited about that to pull the numbers away from Fox. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. But at the same time, there's no reason actually for, I know a lot of people saying they're disappointed Trump's not going to be there. That would be he would be the only focus. There would be the talk of the indictments and everything else, and they wouldn't get anything accomplished as far as a debate goes. They're not going to get much as a debate goes anyway, because it's really not a debate; it's an interview session.
Yeah, and I think really when I look at the candidates that are going to be up on the stage, I really see Vivek being the shining star out of all of them.
Oh, without a doubt.
He is very polished, and people say, be wary, but I will say he does answer things directly, which I appreciate, instead of giving us the politician answer for everything. So, Steve Stanton says won't watch Fox ever again. Well, they're also live streaming it on Rumble for what I hear, Steve Stanton, so make sure you check it out. We will have the highlights next week as
we'll watch it so you don't have to.
Yes. Well, yeah. I'll be watching it in a public place because I don't have Fox. I won't pay for it. But Vivek, one of the interesting things about him, like I said, he answers things very directly, and he was talking about who he would put in charge of the Federal Reserve. I think we all have our picks, but I want to listen to what he has to say.
Guess who?
When it comes to somebody who wants to lead the U.S. Federal Reserve, for example, a really important pick that the next president will have to make in January of 2026, I like the likes of Rand Paul or Ron Paul, who have a vision that I share for radical reform of the U.S. Federal Reserve, restoring dollar stability as a single mandate. But in any case, whoever it is in a cabinet position, it is going to have to be somebody who shares my commitment to an originalist understanding of the Constitution.
An originalist who understands the Constitution. Wow.
And who doesn't agree that we need a radical reform with the Federal Reserve? We have watched these big bankers be in charge of the Federal Reserve and basically print themselves rich. So I look forward to that, because that would be a game changer, I think, for the U.S.
It's because there needs to be some serious reform there, without a doubt. Meanwhile, there is an airplane.
Yes, well, and Biden, he loves to vacation, Bill.
I
think that he vacations more than any other president we've ever had.
In fact, it's getting such to the point where he actually, it was his one vacation a couple of weeks ago was so intense, he had to take another one to recover from it in Lake Tahoe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Must be nice. Well, the beach that he's at all the time, people, they like knowing where he's at so that they can give him messages by plane. I think we have that. So this is in Delaware, and I don't know if you guys can see that, but it says...
A little hard to read.
Yeah, prosecute Hunter Biden. Oh, here's the zoom on that.
Yeah, there you
go. Really, really fun stuff. I think people are getting creative, but I also think that we're seeing that people do not have an appetite for the current situation in the U.S. They're done. They don't like it. People are not used to living with such high prices. We've been able to get things more cheaply before, and now it's, I don't know about you, Bill, but when you go to the grocery store, it's a reminder every day.
You know, I don't know when people are going to start making the connection, but the fact that we're not going after our own oil, which would drop the price of everything, because how does the food get to be grown in the first place? Because agricultural machines that run on petroleum products are harvesting it. How does it get to the market? Because trains and trucks run on diesel fuel. For those of you who just were in public schools the last 40 years, that's a petroleum product.
Isn't diesel a byproduct of oil?
Yeah.
Or of gas, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just part of the what they call the cracking process. One part you get this, then you get that, and then you get something else.
So it seems like it's pretty efficient, Bill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then of course you have the cretins in California that have the boutique formulas. So they have to make a formula for Los Angeles, and then they have to make a formula for San Francisco, and to make a formula for Sacramento, all up and down the line. It's ridiculous. Which means it takes longer, and we haven't built a refinery in 40 years. Okay, a new refinery, and so if one goes down, then it's going to take even longer to get to market, which means the prices are going to continue to go up. But if we bring the price down so that it costs truckers less, if it costs them right now, I think it costs them over $2,000 or $3,000 to fill up a tank one time.
Yep.
If that brought that down to $500, then the cost of delivery to the grocery store. And by the way, all of these grocery stores and restaurants run on electricity, which comes from fossil fuel for the most part. Okay? And so if their prices go up for their electric bill, if it doubles or triples, what the heck happens to the price of your food?
Yep, that's where we're at.
Just go after your own oil.
Yep.
Telling somebody else to go after it and then having it, that costs more money. It empowers them. We spend money and help their workers, and then they have to ship it here, which uses more oil. Are you just stupid?
It's not. I think the other thing is that they have terrified a lot of kids going through school.
Without a doubt.
About climate change and that kind of stuff. I mean, going through college was kind of a joke because I had to take a climate change class. It was ridiculous. I think it was called global warming at that time, but it's switched, of course, so to fit the narrative. So didn't do too well in that class, imagine that, but they are indoctrinating kids from a very young age. You have little kids that are afraid of different things because of what their teachers are telling them in school. It's really sad to see these 5-year-olds crying about climate change. Like,
yeah,
don't do this to children.
Well, people say they're not going to have kids anymore because of that.
Exactly. And Lizzie Warren says the Biden vacays seem to fly in the face of admonitions to the Americans travel less to save the planet. It's amazing that they can travel all they want, but us little Americans, we are not allowed to travel.
Or we. Meanwhile, as we wrap it up today, they don't call it the greatest generation for nothing. And one of our own just celebrated a special birthday over the weekend. As we wrap it up here today and salute another one of our great veterans of World War II.
I feel fortunate that I've come this far, you know.
World War II veteran Corporal Leonard Turner is celebrating his 100th birthday.
Really know the difference between how I felt at 99 and now that I'm 100. But at any rate, it feels great.
World War II veteran Corporal Leonard Turner is celebrating his 100th birthday.
Really know the difference between how I felt at 99 and now that I'm 100. But at any rate, it feels great to reach the number and be in good health.
Marine Corps League Detachment 564 hosted, saying they expected around 200 people.
We've got veterans, we have generals, we have colonels, we have dignitaries from the state coming in.
I was against it to start with.
But he says his kids insisted, And now that he's here,
it's amazing. Actually amazing.
I believe he is the last Carlson Raider, the forefathers of the Marine reconnaissance community.
retired Marine and member of the detachment says Corporal Turner paved the way.
He epitomizes what we as Marines try to uphold to. He is a hero. He will never say that. He will always say, I'm not, but in our mind, he is a hero of our Corps and of the history of America.
He says it's important to recognize veterans like Corporal Turner.
We need that engagement to let them know they're never forgotten, they're a part of our lives.
The 100-year-old says his birthday wish?
Well, to stay healthy and go as long as I can.
At the National Museum of the Mighty 8th Air Force, Anna Black, WTOC News.
What a great story.
Yeah, they managed to get her super up anyway.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for us. And God bless him. As the old saying goes, live forever or die trying.
Yep. Remember to download our app, become a member on our website at thelocalspin.gra.com.
And send your donations.